toDIYfor, and I'm not going to lie, this week I struggled hard with my DIY. It happens from time to time. I took it apart several times, rebuilt it several times. I didn't like the way that it looked, and part of that is because I'm kind of learning macrame as I teach it to you as well. So this is definitely for beginners, but I'm going to show you this is what I started with. It inspired this entire DIY. I found it at a thrift store for $5, and I think it's supposed to be a terrarium because it has this flat piece here, so it could sit maybe like this and you could set it up. I thought it would be a beautiful hanging planter in my bedroom, so that's what I'm doing. And this cone shape was a serious struggle, but I managed to put something together. So let's get into this macrame hanging planter. Some of the things that you need are macrame cord. I used a wooden dowel and some scissors. I first cut 8 strands that were 8 feet long for my project. And these will basically just be folded in half, so that's why they're so long. So I used this little rack that I have that hangs on the back of doors. I put my wooden dowel there just because I thought it'd be a lot easier to work on this project. Again, I'm taking the middle point of those strands and I'm wrapping them around the dowel here and doing a little knot. So I have 8 of those total. So here's my first basic knot. You use 4 strands. You take your right strand, cross it over the 2 center strands. The left strand then goes over top of that, but back behind the 2 center strands. And then you pull the knot up tight. I'll show it to you again. It's the right hand strand, crosses over top of the 2 center strands. That left strand goes on top of the tail there and back behind the 2 center strands and pulls tight. So I did 3 of these knots when doing that entire row. Whoopsie.
Oopsie daisy.
Yeah. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, sorry about my bad camera work, but then I did 3 there and I went back and I did a whole nother row that equaled 4 extra knots as well. So this diagonal knot I'll show you next. Just to make sure you know, I did reconnect that center strand with 3 of those original knots, but take that center strand and then we're going to grab the one next to it and wrap this little knot around like so and pull it up nice and tight. And you're going to do that twice with that string. Then move on to the next string and again twice with that string. So continue to do it until it looks something like this. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. All those strands will kind of be redirected into the center. And then to complete the look and kind of make a diamond shape, I just went back in with that same strand and did basically the opposite thing. So to connect the final diamond, I went back to my original knot that I showed you and did 3 of those at the bottom to connect it all together. Hopefully that made sense. So this is what I came up with for the bottom. It was a little difficult because of the cone shape of this glass piece that I'm working with. I found it really difficult, but this actually is very sturdy and safe and secure. So I basically just grabbed 4 of those strings together and knotted them around this metal hoop and tried to make it as even as possible so it will sit flat. Once those knots were nice and tight, I cut off all of the excess and then I cut an extra piece so that I could tie it to my dowel and hang it from the ceiling.
To work. It just took a really long time to get there, and that's just kind of what happens sometimes with DIYs, but you have to be patient. What did you think of my final design? If you enjoyed it, give the video a like, and if you attempt to make your own macrame hanging planter, I'm sure it'll look very different, so I'd love to see some photos of that. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Janelle Steeper and tag me in any of those photos. And if you're looking for any other inspiration for hanging planters, I do have several other ideas on my channel. I'll leave those videos linked down below for you to check out as well. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back next Wednesday with a new video. Cheers.